Hi, everybody, and welcome back to the Beyond Aromatics podcast. It's been a while since our last recording went out, and well, a lot has happened since we last got together. With the current state of the world, it seems like everyone is sitting on the edge of their seat, waiting for what happens next. Unprecedented times means it's hard to look to one person for the answers on how to cope, adapt, and how to plan for the future, because the truth is, no one knows what's going to happen next. So, when we don't know what's happening next, the best thing we can do for ourselves and our community is to ask, what can we do right now? When many of NAHA's regional directors and board members asked themselves this question, the answers varied wildly, but often came to the same conclusion. We decided to sit down with those directors and figure out how they are coping or changing up their normal aromatherapy and business routines to meet the needs of the world and even their smaller communities. Join us for these next couple weeks as we visit our friends all over the country. We speak with aromatherapy educators, retailers, spa owners, manufacturers, custom blend specialists, practitioners of all kinds, and more to get their take on the hardships and changes and learn how they are forging ahead anyways. These interviews are led by NAHA's Director Coordinator, Sharon Falsetto, who herself has a unique perspective, which we will dive into later in these episodes. Okay, enjoy the show!
Today we are talking to Betty, who is Director for Northern California. Betty has been surviving shelter in place for quite a long time now, as Northern California was one of the first states to go into shelter in place. She describes how she is working as a busy mom, caring for her children at home and running her own business from home. So she gives us a few tips on which essential oils to use to ground and adapt during this time and stay sane. Raghda is the International Director for Egypt, and she's based in New Jersey. Raghda barely got home from a study trip to Egypt before airports were closed in the US for COVID-19. She discusses how future study trips might be affected by COVID-19 and what additional measures might be put in place for the safety of students on these trips. She also gives us a few tips on essential oils to use during this time.
Up first on today's episode is Raghda Maksoud. Raghda is the founder of Ebers Consulting. She's an expert with more than 20 years professional experience in the essential oils, flavors, fragrance, and food processing industries. Raghda has also launched 2 brands of aromatherapy and essential oil industries in the United States, in addition to being a NAHA clinical aromatherapist. To learn more about Raghda or how to get in touch with her, please visit ebersconsulting.com. That's EBERS consulting.com. You can also catch up with Raghda on Facebook and on Instagram at Ebers Consulting.
Today I'd like to welcome Raghda to our series of interviews that we're doing with NAHA directors on the COVID-19 crisis and how our directors are dealing with that. So welcome, Raghda. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you, Sharon. Hope you guys are all doing okay.
Oh, we are. Thank you for asking. I hope you are too. And we're going to chat a little bit about that and how you're doing. So first of all, for people that don't know who you are, would you like to tell us where you're located and what directorship you do for NAHA?
Yeah, sure, absolutely. So my name is Raghda Maksoud, and I am the International Director for NAHA for Egypt. I am located in New Jersey in the States. And a little bit of background about me, I have been working in the essential oils and flavors and fragrance industry since 20 years. And in 2015, I decided to open my own company, which is Ebers Consulting for aromatherapy, and that was actually once I started learning about aromatherapy and took my advanced clinical certification from NAHA. And it was a great turn of events for me after taking the certification and being introduced to the aromatherapy world. And since then, I've been working in the company. It's a family-owned small company. Basically, it's me and my family, and it's dedicated to teaching aromatherapy and doing study tours with partnerships, of course, with NAHA, and also serving small size and medium sized companies within the essential oil and the aromatherapy industry with product development and project development as well, from product initiation to the retail marketing.
Right. So you were actually just finishing up a study trip to Egypt when this all happened. So you got home okay, as I understand it. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, sure. So we actually, the group traveled back to the United States on March 1st. And that was like early on before everything started to really be very serious and airports shutting down and all the whole lockdown scenarios worldwide. So we were very lucky that at like the time we were in Egypt, it wasn't that serious. Even the time we left the United States, we were, there was no restrictions or travel restrictions or anything, just the regular, precautions. So me coming back, I stayed for more 2 weeks, than the group, just because I had, a lot of, things to do in Egypt, like, another workshop that was hosted there and, seeing my family and friends as well. All of us came back home safe and sound. None was tested positive for COVID. It just, the regular, common cold or like symptoms with like maybe congestion or throat from the travels and the airplane and the different temperatures. But yeah, we were very, very lucky. Thank God that, everybody was safe and sound coming back home.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad to hear that. So this makes us think about, how COVID-19 is going to affect international travel, and perhaps the ways we might do things. I know it's hard to predict the future, especially at the moment. But do you think that'll change the way that you think about doing study trips in the future?
Well, I think COVID-19 is going to change a lot of things, not only the international travels, but our daily life. Like it's the new normal that we have to, adapt and cope with. But of course, it's very early to predict what is going to happen because it's like a pandemic and it's like every country has their own restrictions and their own, precautions towards how they deal with the pandemic. But of course, for us first, for NAHA and EBERS, it is safety comes first. So, this is our first priority, safety. So, we'll just wait and see what will be the rules and the the terms for going forward from the United States, from the World Health Organization, even for the countries we were having on mind to travel to, because we were talking about adding more countries when we talked with the NAHA board, and they welcomed this in addition to Egypt, of course. So I think once everything is back to normal, let's say, and we have more a good understanding of what was going to happen, in the travels and everything, we'll make up our minds, especially that we will be targeting countries that, of course, that has more, let's say, health
Healthcare.
management.
Yes.
Yes, we can rely on. How they dealt with the whole scenario and situation, what was the numbers there, and if there is any preference in country over the other. Of course, we're not going to go to China, for example,
Yes.
but
yes.
but
At least
still,
not for a very long time.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Not that China is not good, but just because we just want to make sure that we'll be safe. It's
Yes.
not safe anywhere in the world right now, but
No.
But yes, I believe also that maybe we will need to change a little bit the how we address the study tours. So make sure it will be more in open spaces than in closed spaces, more retreats than going to more like retreat places like we were discussing, like the oasis. We were discussing salt lakes. We were discussing hot springs. We were discussing a lot of options. Rather than being in very crowded areas where there is a lot of, people. So I think how the logistics and the itinerary will be from now on would be considering a lot of factors, in addition to the safety, of course.
Yes. Yeah, certainly. There's a lot of things to think about. So how has it affected you at home and your business at home and you like in the place that you live? What changes have you seen there?
Well, a lot of changes. New Jersey is one of the states that has a lot of cases in the tri-state area, and we were one of the early states to lock down. So only essential businesses are still like open. So business-wise, let's say a big part of our business is online, which is actually the whether it's the teaching classes or the essential oils business. It's basically we're still shipping, we're still doing classes online. We managed to pick up very quickly on Zoom and try to do actually even a lot of free classes to just for people to know about essential oils and how can they use them in this time, like trying times, and how to use them towards their like immunity or hygiene. But from this point, of course, the actual business, which is the main business, which is the projects and the business development, stopped for a while because we cannot go to companies and meet them, and everybody's not like really investing on anything right now. Everybody's just waiting to see.
Exactly.
But other part, which is the wholesale of the essential oils, is still also doing good. I would not say as before, but we've been lucky that we didn't shut down. Still, people are buying essential oils for their products or for their own use. So we're good. On the other hand, if we're talking about the community, it's different, it's different, because like we're one of the most crowded states as well. So we're seeing people everywhere, like in, like every other part in the States. But it's here, it's very, very, so people are really in my neighborhood, people are very strict about social distancing. They don't go out. You can't see them. Like everybody's like even walking in the streets wearing masks. but there is a
Right.
lot of community support and solidarity between even neighbors. So, whoever can help is helping, either with doing shopping for everyone, instead of everyone going to the supermarket, or,
Yes.
I was doing some inhalers and some ciders to my neighbors. My other
Right.
neighbor was giving us a lot of herbal tea. So it's everyone is trying to, to
Yeah.
adapt to the situation and being home.
Yeah.
But I think, I think everybody is like taking it, one day at a time, let's say.
Yeah. Yeah, it certainly seems to be bringing community together. I've been seeing a few things on the news, about neighbours, still social distancing, but coming out at the same time every night to listen to somebody sing opera or
Yeah.
have their own kind of little party. And yeah, we don't quite do that in our neighbourhood, but certainly there is community support. Um,
Yes.
so, what essential oils are your favorites to go to at this time that might help people that are not just so much with immunity, but anybody that's suffering from isolation and depression and maybe some anxiety over what the future holds?
Yeah, so my favorite blend for an anxiety, or for stress, or for, just calming, I always like to use jasmine, frankincense, and orange. And,
That sounds lovely.
I really like the combination of the three oils in like even an inhaler, or like a blend with like a roll-on blend. And it's really working for me and working for like my friends and family.
Mhm.
On the other hand, if we're talking about the immunity and even the respiratory part of blending, I'm using cypress,
Right.
and I'm using eucalyptus, tea tree, peppermint, and lemon. So that's my like small uh, uh, apothecary
Right.
kind of essential oils that is being used every day.
Yeah, yeah, frankincense is definitely one that's used for meditation and stuff as well. So it's a good one to kind of, yeah, slow us down. And I always love sweet orange. That's my favorite citrus essential oil. I
Mm-hmm.
always think it's a nice, happy oil. And jasmine, of course, is always beautiful as well. And then those ones that you mentioned for, helping with our health, respiratory and stuff. How would you use those ones?
So I'm using the cypress and the eucalyptus, peppermint, and lemon. I'm doing steam inhalation in the morning and at night. And I'm also using them in personal inhalers.
Right.
So that's what I'm doing with them. For the jasmine, frankincense, and orange, sweet orange, I'm using them in a jojoba blend roll-on, just
Mhm.
to use whenever like there is a stressful situation, or you need just
Yes,
to calm down from hearing the news every day.
exactly.
And on the on the other hand, I'm also like to use the frankincense in a diffuser every now and then, if I am praying or meditating, just just to ease things down. So that's how I'm using them.
Yeah, yeah, that sounds good. And so, is there anything else that you kind of want to speak about, or any advice? Did I hear you mention you had actually made some hand sanitizers in your workshop in when you were in Egypt?
Yeah,
Did I?
yeah. So in what happened in Egypt, and it was actually we did a hand sanitizer product, and we did an anxiety blend. So it was a basic introductory workshop for like people who doesn't know anything about aromatherapy, but we wanted to make it fun. So we had 23 participants in group. Like we divided them in groups, and they start making the hand sanitizer. So at that point, there was a lot of 70% alcohol available in spray bottles in the pharmacies in Egypt.
Right.
And we also, so we used this, and we used a little bit of aloe vera gel, and we used some essential oils that was particularly available in Egypt at that point. So we used eucalyptus, we used tea tree, and we used also pink grapefruit and basil. And people like, people like the sweet basil in this hand sanitizer. But there was a lot of other like combination of oils. But we did the hand sanitizer, and they were very happy because they were using it. And then when they went home, they start doing other hand sanitizers for their family and for their friends, and they were like, it was the right selection at the right time, also with the anxiety blend. Because we had a meeting on Zoom after that when I came back. So just to make sure, I had to check on everybody and how's everybody doing. And I saw that they start going and buying essential oils from the retail shops in Egypt and start doing, their own basic blends. But they are still asking me about the percentages and the dilution. So that was really good, teaching, them how to do basic things and they're understanding that, because I have been trying to convince even my friends to use essential oils in Egypt, and everybody's just like, oh yeah, we'll that later on. And then when they came to the event and they started using it and it stopped working, now you can see them very eager to learn more and to just ask a lot of questions. So it's good.
It was good that you did the hand sanitizers, so they were kind of prepared for that, and it was perfect product for them to be introduced to it and see the benefits of that. So that's what I'm seeing coming out of this, is that people are turning. I was just going to say, people are turning to essential oils. So I
know they are turning to any holistic modality. And it's good, because I think that the next stage we will be in is people will really want to, build their own knowledge and their own immunity. They want to, to learn about things rather than taking it for granted from the media or from websites that they don't know what they are talking about, And there was a lot of cases and a lot of scenarios, especially with COVID-19, that people were like, okay, you have to drink this and that, you have to take this and that, what people start having cumulative effects from what they are consuming on daily basis. So, knowledge, information are vital. Education is important, and
the safety associated with that, learning from the right people with the knowledge, and so they can.
And there is plenty. And there is plenty of, of really, really well experienced, herbalists and aromatherapists, in the United States and in Europe and
around the world
under NAHA or other organizations. But I mean, and what was really good is that everybody stepped up and started being online with their followers and start talking and start giving free classes, which was great, of course. At that point. And I actually was listening to a very important webinar today, and it was about the businesses that, like, people that had store businesses like skincare products, like the brick and mortar shops, and their advice was to build the story online. Start building the stories again online on your website or on your Instagram account or on your social media account. Say what you have learned and how did you cope with this crisis, and then invest more in content creation, invest in pictures, invest in stories, invest in the online management of the social media more than anything else right now, because this is where people will turn off, because it will take time for people to go back to the stores.
Yes. Even when they can, it's going to take some time with confidence and everything. So the online, we need to have the good information, the right information out there. So that is good advice there. So what would you like to close out with? Do you have anything else you'd like to add to share with us, or you covered most things?
I actually, first of all, I want to thank you and Savannah for all the hard work, and all the other directors that are working tirelessly to keep us informed, even when everything is in lockdown. And I just wish everyone to be safe and sound and be well, and keeping my fingers crossed and praying that we will see each other very soon.
Yes. And and I would like to thank you, Raghda, for joining us today and sharing valuable information with us, and also for your work that you do for NAHA and for your own company. It's certainly good to have this community at this time, and I value you as a person as being part of that. So thank you for joining us today, and be safe and be well.
Thank you very much. You too. Thank you.
Up next, Betty Torres. Betty is a certified aromatherapist and hypnotherapist, and combines these two practices along with traditional healing techniques to support busy women and mothers with their self-care needs by helping them honor their time so that they feel refreshed, replenished, and free to express themselves while being of service to others. She is currently a mother of 2 and has been practicing aromatherapy for over 15 years and is Northern California's regional director for NAHA. You can find out more about Betty and the work she does at www.poeticpotions.com.
Today, I just want to welcome Betty to our series of interviews with NAHA directors on COVID-19. So first of all, welcome, Betty. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Sharon. So good to talk to you guys.
It is. Yes, we have not talked in a while, so it's nice to hear your voice. For people that don't know you, Betty, can you tell us a little bit about where you're located, which state, and a little bit about how you do aromatherapy business?
Okay. I'm in Northern California. It's a small town. It's called Ukiah. It's really close to San Francisco. And I love working with women that are moms, busy women that have businesses. And I love using aromatherapy and essential oils to help them with their self-care, because it's so easy to get super busy and want to help everyone all the time. And so it's easy to forget about us. And so, I have,
Yeah, I was just going to mention, I did not realize that you were also a hypnotherapist. Can you tell us a little bit about how that works with your aromatherapy?
Yeah, I wanted to learn a different side of it. I wanted to add a different modality to what I do, because what I love doing is working with moon phases. I love to create self-care rituals, and I'm also a poet. So I noticed that when I would teach about aromatherapy and essential oils, I tend to get poetic, and and so it's my artistic side. It's very right brain. And so when I learned about how the brain works when we do ritual, and how our behaviors can change when using aromatherapy. I really wanted to learn more about how that works, right? And how I would be able to incorporate it. So although I do hypnotherapy, I do incorporate the hypnotherapy with my one-on-one consultations. I use it more for meditation, so that when we get clear about our intentions and focus on getting clarity and getting things done, right, and actually taking action on our intentions and our goals. I love using meditation and like dropping down into our body and like really connect into our body, so that we can really ground what we're working on. And so that's one of the ways that I use hypnotherapy. And of course, like the essential oils, right, so that we can drop down into a different state of mind. And it's funny because when I was learning about hypnotherapy, there's a process that they use that is not called triggers. There's another word. And they taught us to incorporate essential oils as one of the processes to go deep and drop down into our body. Yeah, it was really interesting.
So that sounds very interesting, and you kind of do that one-on-one with people. Because of COVID-19, have you changed the way you worked, or are you not able to do that at the moment?
Well, the good thing is that I have been, my business is already virtual. And so what has changed is that I actually have been getting on the phone with women even more. So that is a good thing. What has changed is that my production, so making products, creating the custom potions for my clients, that has slowed down. And it's mostly because, my whole family is at home with me. And so I do have to focus on homeschool, and I have a 16-year-old. And so that side of it has slowed down a bit. And so I'm opening up for more one-on-one calls, and also starting group coaching, because that's something that I was already in the process of. And again, it kind of slowed down because of the whole, family dynamic at home now.
So how are you finding that, being cooped up in the house with, homeschooling and whole family at home, trying to find your own space? Because I believe you went onto lockdown quite early on, more so than other states.
Yeah, we did. And so there's the good news and the bad news, right? It's almost like, okay, I know how to do this. I teach about self-care rituals. I have my own morning ritual. I got this, right?
Yeah.
And so, okay, but then that's like day one started. All the kids are home, and it's almost like this. We're like, yay, no school. Oh, we don't have a schedule. I don't have to put them, to bed early. It's all good, right? So day two, we're like, what are we going to do today? So free time, right? But then, there I go again. It's like my focus moves from like what I need to do. It moves away from like my self-care to the kids. And so by the time like, the second week came around of homeschooling, I forgot all about my self-care. I forgot all about my morning journaling. I forgot all about my goals. And so it was almost like I had to go back to, square one. And I myself like remember, how do I go back to remembering like what I'm supposed to do again? Like now I'm overwhelmed. Now I'm frustrated. Like, how do I, how do I get focused again? And so, after that period of transition, it reminded me of why I do what I do is so important, and why, especially for like busy women and moms, for us to have our morning rituals in the morning. So for example, for me, I know that it's really important for me to wake up early in the morning before my kids get up, and at least journal for myself, right? Get clear on what I have to do. And And then, of course, there are days when my kids get up early, before I do, and then they're hungry. And so,
Yeah.
I have to feed them first. And then, then it's my responsibility to remember to make time for myself. And so, my kids are a little older. They're 8 and 16.
All right.
Yeah, when my daughter was a toddler, I did work from home, and it was a little different. It changes.
Yeah.
Just like any business evolves,
Yeah.
like motherhood evolves too. And so now it's a little easier for me to let them know that I'm going to work, I'm going to be in my office, and I just make sure that they have their needs met, that they're going to have some food, and here's, homeschool, or here's something that you guys can play with together, and then I can get work done. But it definitely has to be in small increments. So
Right.
that's the difference from when they were in school and from the way I have to do things now. Yeah, so it's really important for me to get clear on exactly what I need to do for the day so that I can reserve some time to focus on it, because the focus part is what's what's different, what's a little more challenging right now. Like, for example, as I'm talking to you guys, my husband and my kids are outside, but they're right outside my window. And so I need to make sure that my curtains are closed,
Right.
so that I'm not constantly, wanting to see what they're doing, and, wanting to go like help somebody, just, they're fine. I
I'm
have to just
having the
trust that they're
same
going to be fine.
situation with my dog, who's currently
Hello?
scratching at the door, and he's
Oh,
distracting me.
oh, hello.
Can you
Sorry,
hear
I
me?
can't hear. I could hear you now. I lost a bit of it, a little
Okay.
bit back.
It's
Yeah.
probably because my dog is scratching in the background
Mhm.
and driving me crazy,
Mhm.
and I'm
Mhm.
trying to focus and not yell at him because
Yeah.
he's like, "Why can't
Yeah.
I be with you?" Yeah, you certainly have to set boundaries. And talking of
Mhm.
dogs, I think you just adopted
Mhm.
you're fostering a dog now.
Yes. Oh, we're so happy. And it was one of those things that I had to decide, okay, is this really going to help me, or is it going to even challenge me even more with getting things done, getting, what I need to do done. But
Yeah.
I thought about it, and, as I said, my kids are a little older, and like, as you said, it's about boundaries. And I thought this would be a good opportunity to teach them responsibility, because, like I said, it's so easy for us to want to do everything ourselves. And, whether you're a parent or not, even with businesses, right? Like, sometimes we're afraid to give our, to give the responsibility to delegate. That's the word I was looking for, right? It's so
Yes.
hard to delegate sometimes, and
I know.
it's easier for us to want to do it all ourselves. But yeah, and so it's been really nice. And yeah, I have another example of like needing to stay focused. So, I was doing a little bit of work on my own while I was, before I got on the call with you guys. And so today it was my husband's turn to homeschool. And so today they decided to, with my daughter, right? She has a virtual class in the morning. And so they decided to do the homeschool right outside my window. And then they're like, don't let the dog out because he's going to distract us. So then the dog is inside. But then I'm hearing little doggy by my door crying, wanting attention from me. And so I'm like, okay.
I
There's
know
like, I have to make a decision right there and then. Yeah.
it's hard to
Mhm.
to try and keep those boundaries because they're at you for attention. But at least
Mhm.
you've got time to take him out and spend, get outside. And I'm hearing from everybody
Mhm.
getting out in nature is good at the
Yeah.
moment. At least once a day,
Mhm.
to get out there in your garden or round the
Mhm.
neighborhood, be socially distanced, acceptably
Yeah.
socially distanced, I think is the term.
Mhm. I
And
know.
how are
It's
you finding
changing.
it in your area? I mean,
Mhm.
has it really impacted your local businesses?
Um, yes and no. I've been hearing different things from people. This is already a small town, and so the essential businesses are open, but of course, like the small little shops, the bookstore, the clothing stores, those are all closed. And so I know that a lot of people here are going to have a difficult time with that. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and even like something interesting is, sorry about that. Yeah, something interesting. Like for example, just like needing clothes for my kids. Like my daughter's is outgrowing her shoes and she needs new clothes. The sun's coming out, and we don't have, we can't shop for clothes. And so that's something interesting. I know that at least we have the option of ordering clothes on Amazon, but it was just a thing that we noticed. Like we went to Costco or like the other like big, stores, and they're not offering any clothing and shoes. And so that was just something interesting that we.
Yeah, I've heard that they're closing certain sections in bigger stores that you can't buy from. And it's been the same with garden plants, from what I understand as well. And I understand there's a difference between essential and non-essential, and mostly, but at some point, clothes are essential for growing children. So this raises all sorts of other questions, like how do we move forward from this, and try and get back to a new normal, as is what I've been hearing, and how we go forward from this. But it sounds like you're adapting. You're going to be doing some group calls online as well, which is great. Is there anything you want to advise our listeners on something that they might be able to help cope with during these times? Or what kind of oils would you perhaps recommend for grounding or at this time?
Yes. Well, my favorite oils for grounding and connecting to our body is definitely vetiver. I'm reaching for that essential oil a lot, and jasmine, just because jasmine is it just makes me feel happy. It reminds me that things are going to be okay. Right. And so even for those moments where, it's been overwhelming and we're lonely and, we're missing the life that we used to have, right? There's a lot of things that we don't get to do anymore. And so, jasmine is one of the oils that it just makes me feel good and reminds me to be compassionate and gentle with myself. And the citruses, they always uplift my spirit, and good for the kids. Oh, my daughter loves orange oil, essential oil, sweet orange. Yes, yeah. And my son.
Just going to ask you which was your favorite of the citruses, and orange is mine.
Sweet orange, I don't mind it at all. I know a lot of people say that it's too sweet, but I love it.
I love it too. Yeah, it's got to be my favorite. I'm not a big fan of lemon, but I would use it in blends that warrant it. I think maybe if you tone it down with something. But yeah, definitely sweet orange. Sweet orange is good for these times. And vetiver, I love vetiver too, that you mentioned. And jasmine, I tend to forget about jasmine because it's so expensive.
Yes, right. That's exactly. That's why this time I'm like, I have jasmine. All I have to do is just open it up and enjoy it. Like, why do we put it off? This is when we're supposed to use it right now.
Yeah. I was listening to Penny Price's webinar a couple of days ago with Fanaha, and she said you should have no more than 30 oils in your box, because if you do, you probably not utilizing them to their full extent. But we tend to think, oh, we're going to have this oil and that oil and the other. And in reality, you can probably narrow it down to 30 oils that you can use all the time. So I thought that was an interesting point, because I have way more than that. But given the way things are going, I think, sustainability and all that, we need to be more conscious of those oils that we're buying, and perhaps as aromatherapists, we can kind of incorporate that into our work. Find oils that work. We can, focus on them and get to know them a little better and everything. So
Yes,
I really enjoyed
definitely.
hearing about how you ground and all the work that you're doing. Is there anything else you want to add?
Yes. Yeah, it's interesting that you mentioned sustainability, because that's actually how I started creating my course and the group coaching that I'm going to start, because as aromatherapists and as healers, right, we have like beautiful herbs and flowers, flower essences, essential oils, and we tend to hold off on using them, or we don't tend to use them for ourselves as much as we do for our clients. And I do that for myself. I have, all these beautiful oils and I forget to use them. And I know I'm not the only one. And so that's one of the things that I want to remind everyone, like, use your oils, play with them. This is our opportunity, like you said, to educate ourselves more about each oil that we have, get to know them more, but also enjoy them. Just enjoy them. And, especially it's so easy to forget during the times when everything's all over the place, right? And we're like unfocused.
Yes.
But that's exactly when we have to reach for them. That's exactly when we need to use them. Yeah.
I so agree, and that's a good point probably to close out on. Yes, we need to kind of get more acquainted with our oils and our plants, and that's something I need to do as well. So thank you, Betty, for sharing your time with us and your advice with us. It's been really nice talking to you, and thank you for taking the time.
Yeah. Yes, of course. Thank you. It was so good talking to you too.
Well, that's all for this episode. We hope you join us in just a few days, where we'll be coming back in your feed with another set of interviews from our directors, Kelly Holland-Azaro and Shawnee Detchen. Until then, you can find us at naha.org. That's NAHA.org. You can also find us on Facebook at Aromatherapy Community or on Instagram at Beyond Aromatics.